So, Game Theory posted this versus battle of the Mimic versus Mommy Longlegs, and I thought it was so interesting that I would actually power scale both of them and decide who would win. Because the FNAF and Poppy Playtime fandom always seem to be butting heads with each other, so why not do something they both like to do and fight? FNAF is usually pretty hard to power scale because all the lore's mixed up and jumbled up like a damn spaghetti noodle. The Mimic is probably one of the most clearly stated and shown characters in the series with no hidden lore because they just show us everything. So he should be pretty easy to power scale. The way we're gonna do it, we're gonna be taking his feats from the game, Five Nights at Freddy's Ruin, and some of his books, because there's a canon as well. So, here we go. So, in one of the stories in Horrors of the Pizzaplex, or whatever you call it, there was a group of Fazbear Entertainment employees that went into Edwin's old factory to retrieve the Mimic. And they eventually found his beaten up, broken body on the floor after Edwin crashed out and beat him to death. So they gave him endoskeleton legs, and they brought him back, and then he started to tear them apart, viciously. One dude, he just tore his head off, and judging by the fact these are grown men, it would take about 500 to 1,000 pounds to easily tear someone's head off. In another instance, the Mimic completely gutted a man with only his hand, like a claw, and was so fast he outsped all the grown men while racing them, and he was so strong he would shove a whole body into a small fridge. Tearing someone apart, or just anything that includes a human body, takes around 1,000 pounds to do. Like tearing someone's arm clean off, which he does a lot for some reason, would take around 1,000 pounds, or wall level. He also has the ability to move his body around into different shapes to fit into the costumes. Like in one instant in the books, he changed his body into a snake form, a spider form, and also a human form, which is we usually see him in. Also, for some reason, he can kind of mess with electricity. I don't know why. And he can mimic voices as well, and has shown some type of intelligence, like mimicking people, manipulating people, and also playing with people. Like, how do I say this? Playing with his food. With all that gathered up, he's around wall level right now, with superhuman to above average speed, showing that he can outspeed people and almost go so fast that people can't react, which would be subsonic, but we're not going to put him there just yet. Moving on to the Ruin game, he was shown to be able to push a forklift over, which is absolutely crazy, because the average forklift is around 9,000 pounds. He is literally pushing over 9,000 pounds. Not only that, when he was about to kill Cassie, Roxy, warn you, a damaged Roxy, fought him, and he most likely destroyed and killed her. So it felt like he definitely has a lot of strength. He's probably one of the strongest characters in the game right now, showing that he can just push over a forklift and tear people apart easily. But that's basically what he was made to do. Because when he was found in the destruction of the Pizzaplex, they put him back together and made him tear apart endoskeletons, which are metal, so that's just another feat. So we can determine that he's probably around wall level, if not small building level, due to his strength alone. But one thing that's bad about him is his durability. Yeah, so one problem about him is his durability, judging by the fact that his hand got cut off by an elevator door. Are you serious? People literally put their pinky fingers in between elevator doors and it shuts. But maybe this is just an old tech door, so it didn't shut. But even then, it should not have that much power to rip off your arm. So he's probably just weak or poorly put together, which would make sense since he was originally made by Edwin Murray to just entertain his kid. He also dies from getting spring locked in the books, but anyone will die from that, so we won't take that off. But judging by the fact that he was poorly put together by some scraps, he would probably get torn apart from Mommy. But we still have to power scale her, so let's see what happens. So Mommy Longlegs is kind of a hard character to scale just because she only popped up in chapter 2, then got crushed to death. I feel there's just enough content and information about her that we can make a valid argument on how she could beat the Mimic or how the Mimic could beat her. So let's go off some of her feats. In the Hour of Joy, which is a event that all the toys basically went crazy, broke out, and murdered thousands of people, we can see Mommy picking up a handful of people and dropping them. And using some easy calculations, all those people's weight would add up to about, and judging by the average American man weighs about 200 pounds, that's 3 grown men, meaning that's 600 pounds in one arm, which is pretty impressive. Especially judging by her main power being stretching, she's pretty strong for someone who's supposed to be made of rubber. She's also shown in our chase scene to be easily able to push down and pull down rubble from the caves, which has to be around a ton. And she's also quite fast, being able to easily outspeed people just like the Mimic. But I would say she's a little bit faster due to her being way larger, and also her most likely being faster due to her rubble. She was also able to kill PJ Pugapillar, all the mini Huggy Wuggies, and also Bonzo Bunny, represented by their dolls being tied up by spiderweb up on the roof after we play their levels. And speaking of spiderweb, she can also produce spiderweb for some reason, yet it's never directly shown. In the chase scene and all around the building, there is spiderweb. And spiderweb that large probably is stronger than metal, so she could probably tie the Mimic up. And she is also way more intelligent than the Mimic, being able to manipulate us, manipulate the children and the workers. So she's very intelligent and could probably work around defeating the Mimic, especially since she can just go up in the air. With her incredible agility, I can't see the Mimic catching her if she's up there, and she could probably just beat him to death and throw him around. So for that, they're both pretty equal in strength and speed, both of them having arguments to being small building to wall level, and they both have similar speed. The one thing that sets this fight apart, though, and gives the upper hand to Mommy Longlegs is her agility, her ability to climb, and her durability, for the Mimic being able to just get torn apart by her, because he's too, poorly assembled. The only way I could see the Mimic actually beating her in a fight is if he gets her hands on her and just starts tearing her apart, but I don't believe she's dumb enough to do that. So that's your answer to this question, Game Theory. Mommy Longlegs would probably tear the Mimic apart. Thanks for watching, guys.